Okay, fenders are off, so we're going to move on to the next step, and this is where it gets ugly. That's a precursor of things to come. Alright, now, I knew I had some, looking up there, I knew I had some rough areas in here. Turned out to be a little bit rougher than I thought. I anticipated. That's pretty rough. There. See the tire in through there. Got a nice ventilation hole right there. That's supposed to be solid metal. So is this. And it's even got a hole back here by the mount for the seat there. That's not good either. None of this is good. But we can fix this, although we're going to fix it cheaply and most definitely temporarily. And it will not be fixed permanently. The permanent fix for this is put 4 pans in it, which probably not going to ever happen on this car because this car's got rust everywhere. It's been fixed and then fixed again, and this is like the 3rd time around it's been fixed. So you see up here on the firewall, back of the firewall, when I pulled this mat back originally, looked in here, I noticed that that was wet right there, and there's a lot of rust on there coming down that firewall. So yesterday I spent time cleaning out the cowl up here, but I'm afraid that the cowl has probably got a rusted out spot in it like this, and it's just passing water. So you know, you're talking, unfortunately, if this was a duster, a 340 duster or 360 duster or Demon, something like that, Scamp, Swinger, whatever, what have you, something that's going up in value, we would want to fix that. But since this is just a 4-door Valiant, as much as I love them, and a lot of people actually love them, nobody loves them enough to put money into them or spend a lot of money for them. So we're just going to get this thing back on the road and get it safe as it can be. None of this is structural, and what I mean by structural, it is structural because the 4-pan is structural on these cars. It's a unibody, but it's not structural to the point that the frame's about to come in 2 pieces or anything like that. The worst of it is right here, and that's the end of the this part right there. That's the cross member that's made into the, well, it's welded to the 4-pan. That's what supports the transmission and the torsion bar mounts are towards the center right there. So it's coming apart right here a little bit, but this is not, you know, if worst comes to worst, we can peel this back and weld it up if it had to be, but that's the very worst of it. And I'm not worried about that right now, and I won't be worried about it because this thing will, like I said, then, you know, it'll have to come off the road for sure, for good at some point. But that's why the lady up there in Pennsylvania, why she couldn't get an inspection sticker the last time, is because, you know, they were going to have to fix all this. Pennsylvania, I'm sure, won't let you drive a car with holes in the body like this, so she couldn't pass it, and that was it. So, and that side over there, the only thing going on with it is it's just got a little, I'd say about a 3x3 inch hole right there I showed you earlier. What the heck happened there? Come on, camera, get your act together. Right there, well, look at that. Well, the dimmer switch is actually down there, but anyway, that's where the hole is over there. That's the worst of it. So, anyway, I've got some sheet metal. I went to Lowe's today and bought a couple sheets of cheapo sheet metal, and I'm gonna make a template, and I'm just gonna scab that in here and figure out something to do about that mess there where that crack is. Eat out of it and put it back together, call it good. Alright, I'll see you then. Okay, there we go. New 4-pan is in. It's all bolted down with screws and secured and sealed up. Used some of this good Gorilla Tape to do my seam sealing with there, keep out the rain and water and all that. And even here I had a hard to fill hole right there, so just use some of my Dollar General aluminum foil, and that conforms that hole really well, so that should be good to go there. So we're ready to put some padding back in here and put the 4 mat back down and back together and call this good. Now, I know what you're saying, some of you. Saying, well, you should have your MIG welder out there, and your grinder, and your air compressor, and your nail boarders, and your flangers, and things like that. And well, just weld up some new fork bands. That's the proper way to do that. You shouldn't do that. Well, that's nice, and that sounds real fun and everything. We don't have any of that stuff here, so we're just using this stuff we got from Home Depot. That's so good. I think that's about 21 or 22 gauge sheet metal. It's real light and flexible and easy to work with. Always wear leather gloves when you're working with this stuff. You don't want to slice your hands off. So anyway, that should last for a good long time there. Now we won't have any unintended ventilation and things like that going on. If you think our Peak redneck some stuff, this takes the cake. Bless our Peak's heart. Alright guys, well, we got some more to do outside. See you there. Like it never happened. Okay, so here's what we got to deal with next. You can ignore all the rest of this for right now. I think the fender will stay on there. Yeah, it's a little weak there, but it's got a few bolts in it. Alright. Anyway, we're going to work on this section here now. Okay, done. Oops. There we go. Securely fastened. Matches perfectly, and I'll paint that with the body color paint so it blends in. The trunk. Okay, well, got some issues back here too. And let me preface this by saying I hope you guys aren't taking me too seriously on this little series, because this is just stopgap stuff, and I don't, I know I'm kidding around and saying it looks good and all that, but I'm not that crazy. I know what it looks like. So this is just, like I said, just trying to keep this thing going a little bit longer. So let's take a look at what we got back here. It's more bad news. Somebody's already been back here once, and they used better material than I'm using. Pop rooted a patch in there. But essentially what's going on is this thing is rotting along this seam right here. This is welded together. I think this is called the outer trunk floor here. This is the inner and that's the outer, if I recall correctly. And so that's just salt damage. Salt spray's got up in there, and it's got a hole right here I can stick my finger through. But I'm going to attack that from the outside, and I'm not going to concern myself with any of that right now. That's under that seam, and I don't care about that. So what I am going to do is deal with this one over here. This is a bit worse. It doesn't have a hole back where the other one did, but it's got one right here, and got one right there also, and some nastiness here. So if you listen, you can hear it crunching under that, which is not good. So yeah, it's pretty punk right here. So I can peel that up. That seam sealer crap that they used back then, it doesn't do anybody any favors, that's for sure. So probably gonna peel that off so I can get the patch to lay down. But I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cut one big long patch and go all the way with it from here up to there, probably about 6 or 8 inches wide. And I'm going to scrape that seam sealer off just because I want to get it out of the way, so my patch will lay moderately flat. Actually, the rest of the trunk floor is not that bad in this thing. The spare tire well looks pretty good. That's usually where they rust the first. But that's a shame, because the upper part of this car doesn't have any rust on it, especially since it's not a vinyl top car. It's like one or the other with these things. It's either you buy one with a vinyl top and the damn roof's just rusted away on it, or you buy one without a vinyl top and the roof's perfect on it, but the bottom side of it's just rusted away like this one is. So you just can't win. But anyway, That's what we know when we get into these old Mopars. Rust is a way of life. Alright, so I'm going to dig on this a little bit, and I'll turn the camera back on when I've dug some of that stuff out. We'll see exactly how bad it looks. Alright, well, I ended up not attacking this thing too hard because it's pretty gone. That's not a hole there, that's the seam sealer. But that's hole, that's hole, that's a hole, that's hole, that's rot, that's a hole, that's a big hole there, and big hole there. So yeah, patch it up. Let's cover it up. Done. Alright, so anyway, that's all finished. Yes, one of these screws ended up, didn't have anything to bite into when I got drilled through it there. So, yeah, put two back here for good measure also. So that'll hold it for a while. The rust will get bigger and bigger, but at least I won't have to see it. So yeah.